Hello, everyone. I hope you are fine and staying safe. Yeah, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can collect data or obtain data, health data from existing sources. So I just want to make it really quick and very snappy so that I will encourage you to go ahead and further explore and then play with some of the tools I'm going to give you regarding how to obtain health data. So without wasting much time, let's get to it. So first of all, I'm going to show you how you can use an existing SPSS data, which I think I did it during the beginning of our SPSS programming. So to obtain SPSS data, first of all, let's open our SPSS. So assuming you've already opened your SPSS, all what you have to do is to go to File, and then you go to Open. So if you go to Open, you click on Data. So when you click on the data, you are looking for an existing SPSS data. So you look for your drive C. So here is my drive C. You click on the drive C. Now you click on the program files. You double click on it, it opens. Then you click on IBM. So you double click on it, it opens. Now you double click on SPSS statistics. So when it's open, you now double click on samples. Then since we want English, so you double click on English. So now it opens. So all these are existing data in SPSS. So for your project, if you want to use an existing data in SPSS, which should be a health data, you can actually look through all this data and then see which of the data you would actually want to take. And then you should be able to describe the data based on whichever data you decide to go with. So for instance, if I decide to go with this data, which has to do with memory tax. So once you click on the data, you click on Open here, or you can double click on the data to open it. So if I click on Open, so it will take a while. And then let's see, let's wait for it to open. So now here is it. So the data have opened. So now if you go here, this your data. Now remember in your project, I say you should have 50 or more observations. So this one is a very small data to actually use. So quickly again, you go to File, Open, and then you go to the data. Now, if I want to choose a different data, since it happened here because I've already opened it, this SPSS data set, so it opens right away. So if I want to choose another data, let's say I want to choose this data, which has to do with stroke. Let's say stroke. So let's say stroke invalid. Now, if I double click it, so here's the data. Now you can see this one is a huge data set. And a quick way for you to know the how many observation you have in your data, you can just go to Analyze, then you go to Descriptive, and you go to Explore. So with the Explore tool, we would want to look out for a scale variable, let's say age in years, which is a scale variable. So if you put it in here, then we just go to OK. So once we got OK, so with Explore, now there is the data, the amount of data we have, which is given here. So there's the total amount of observation we have, which is a good amount of data to use in the case of how the amount of data I want you guys to use for this particular project. So there's how you can obtain existing data in SPSS for your project. But however, I wouldn't advise you to use existing data in SPSS for any future project which has to do with publication. This is just for your practice. If you would want to use it, that's fine. But then now, if you want to use a future data which can result in publication, which again, you can also use it for this particular class, all what you have to do is I'm going to walk you through this process, which I will post it on Canvas for you. So these are websites where you can obtain health data set within the United States. So let's click the first one and then see how we can navigate through to be able to get the data. So it's open, so let's See, you can just copy and paste it and then it should open. Okay, so now, so this data has to do with behavioral risk factor surveillance system. That's why they call it the BRFSS. Now, once you click on the link and you are here, where you would find the data is by clicking on data, survey data and documentation. Now, if you go to the survey data and documentation, all this you see here are data which is found under this the BRFSS, which is the behavioral risk factor surveillance system. So assuming you would want to make use of survey data and documentation, if you click here, now it opens a data for you. So first of all, you have information about the data. Now remember, during your project, another thing you would have to do is to be able to actually explain what your data is about. So you have information about your data. And then if you go down where you can find the data, there's a data file. So in order to find the data, or what you have to, we have the data file in ASCII file extension, and then we have that of SAS file extension. There is no that of SPSS file extension, but however, I would advise you to download that of the SAS file extension. Then in SPSS, you can actually import file data that has a SAS extension into SPSS. So assuming you would want to import this, you just have to click on this zip file. So once you click on it, let's wait for it to download. So now once it has downloaded, it is ready for you to use. So all what you have to do is you have to go to your download. So once you are at your download, so there's a file which was download. So make sure you extract it. So extract everything. So I will extract it. So it will take a while for it to extract. Okay, so once you are done with the extraction, so this here you have is an SPSS file extension data. So I want to open it in, import it in, sorry, the file is SAS file extension. So I want to open it in SPSS. So again, I will go to already open SPSS data, or in other words, if you just have to make sure you open your SPSS. Now, what you do is to go to file and you go to import. What do we want to import? We want to import SAS extension data. So we click on the SAS extension. Now you have to locate where your file is. So the file is located under download. So I will click on download. Now you look out for the file, which I think it was named. So there is the file, which is the, if you can remember, it is the that's LLCP 2020. So I'll double click on it. Now it opens the SAS file. So now you are ready to open it in SPSS. So you go to open. So once you open, you wait for it for a while for it to run. You can see it is running here. You can see it. So SPSS will take a while before it's completely finished running and then open the data. So now, so the data is still running. If it is a very huge data set, it will take a while before it's, it opens. So I think this, okay, so now here it is. So here is your data. Now remember, during our data entry processes, when I explained to you in one of the lecture videos, which I recommend you to review it if you forget, once you have exported a data, imported a data from a different source into SPSS, you have to make sure you look at the variable view, and then you look through very well, and then make sure those that need to be recoded are recoded. So you can see, for instance, we have a lot of nominal variables, but in SPSS, they have not been coded yet. So it's up to you to now perform the coding based on the information you obtain from the data documentation or the data file. So the data information that gives you all the information about. So we have, you can see here, we have the code book. So if you click on the code book here, it gives you all the explanation you need for this particular data in which you've downloaded. So for this particular data. So once you have recoded everything and everything looks good, now you are ready to perform your analysis. So there's how you can actually use the this behavioral risk factor surveillance system. I encourage you to go there and then make sure you explore. But then again, if you go back, we have what is called the annual survey data. So if you click on the annual survey data, it gives you numerous data sets in which, depending on the one you would be interested in. So we have from 2013 to 2020, we have 2003 to, and then in that order. So whichever data you think you'll be happy to use, you just have to click on it. Once you click on it, it gives you the data information, and then you can now go ahead and click the data file. And again, make sure you download that of the SAS format, which can be actually imported in SPSS. So there is it for the behavioral risk factor surveillance data. Now, if another data in which you can actually also use is what is called the NHANES data, which is a CDC data set. So if you click on this link, which I'll give you, now it opens. Once it opens, again, you go to data, access data and documentation. Now, if you go to data and documentation, so there's where you have your enhanced data, which is National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So all what you see here are information or data which have been collected under the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. So whichever one you would want to use, for instance, if you click on this one, which has to do with the pandemic. So once you click on it, which is the pre-pandemic data, which is from 2017 to March 2020. Now, once you click on it, where you can find the data is under data and documentation, and then that of code book. So under data and documentation, what type of data are you looking for? Are you looking for examination data, laboratory data, questionnaire data? So if it is a laboratory data, if you click on the laboratory data, it opens. So what you see here are all information you can have about the data. Now we have here, we have this columns, which is the year of the data, the name of the data, which, for instance, the first data is this one, albumin, and then creatinine, that's urine. So there is a doc file about the data, and this one is the data itself, which is the data file. Now it is in also it is in SAS format or extension. If you click on this, it downloads, so you can see it is in a SAS format. So once you open your SPSS, you can import it into SPSS, although it is a SAS extension data. So that's it for this National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey data. So if you go backwards, there's a whole lot of data you can find. For instance, if you are looking for data which has to do with 2017 data, these are all the types of data you have. Are you looking for demographic data, dietary data, examination data, or what have you? Assuming you are looking for demographic data, if you click on the demographic data, now you have this where you can click. Once you click on this, the data download, and then you can now access the data. And again, if you look for information about the data, this doc file and this information we have over here are information which you can have about the one, about the data. So there is it also for the enhanced data, which is the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey. Now, another health data you can access is the MEPS data. So if you click on it, which is the link, now this open. So when you go to this data site or database in order to get the MEPS data, or what the MEPS data, the MEPS represent medical examination panel survey. So if you are looking for the data, you look for data file. So if you click on data file, now you wait, so it opens. So all these are data in which you can get. So we have available year. So if you want a specific year, you can click and then it will give you that specific year. But what you are seeing here is all available years, which, so for instance, if you are interested in, let's say if you are interested in anything about preventive care self-administered questionnaire. So if you click on it, now it opens. So once it opens, you can click here. If you click on it, it also opens. Now you have information about the data. So that all the data documentation, whatever information, how the data was coded, you see we have the documentation, code book, the SAS programming statements, and then stuff. Now, to download the data itself, you come here, which is under the data and the file tab. Again, the file tab, you make sure you download the SPSS extension file type, the SAS extension or file type or format. Now, most of the data sets are in either SAS or Stata, or maybe in some cases you might have it in SPSS. But even if it is in SAS or Stata, you can still import it in SPSS. And after your importation, all you have to do is to make sure you go to the variable view and do your recoding based on the code book, which is over here. So once you click on this zip, the data download. So you can see here, the data have been downloaded. So if this data is zipped, so you have to first of all extract the zip, and then you can be able to open it through your SPSS using the input command. So now, so there is it also for the MEPS data, which is the medical examination panel survey. So if you go back again, you have several other data. So once you click on this data file, you have access to all kinds of data. So depending on the data of your interest, you have home health file, you have outpatient visit, you have emergency health, inpatient stay, or other medical expenses. All these are data information which are taken under health expenditure panel survey, which you can have access to. Then also another option you have in terms of collecting the health data is using the NHANES. So the NHANES, if you click on this link, it opens the NHANES. So here the NHANES represent the National Health Interview Survey. So again, you go to the survey data and documentation, which is access data and documentation. Once you click on it, now it opens. So here is the NHANES. It gives you 2021 NHANES data. It gives you 2019, 2020. So all these are data in which you have under NHANES. And then if you click on any of them, for instance, if you are looking for 2021 data, once we click on it, we are able to access 2021 data. So if you go backwards, let's look at more on. If you click on, let's say 2019, so these are information on 2019 data set about NHANES. So you can see the 2021, we couldn't get much information because we are still within 2021, perhaps they are still collecting the data. But then if you look at 2019, you see we have a CSV file, there's an Excel file, there's SAS, and we have there's a different, so if you have an Excel file, you can also download the Excel file and you should be able to access the Excel file through SPSS, the input command. So if you are looking for data on adult interview, sample child interview, we have that's imputed income, which has to do with sample adult, that of child, and you are looking for using NHANES. So all these are information. So these are paradata. So all these are different data which was collected under NHANES in 2019. So for instance, if you click on this file, it's you wait for it to download. So now you can see it has downloaded. So here is it. So it has downloaded. Now you have to extract it. So once you go to your download, you can extract this file. And again, using the input command, you'll be able to import it into SPSS. Make sure during your importation, if it is SAS file, you choose SAS importation. If it is Stata, you have to choose Stata. If it is Excel file, you have to choose Excel. So there is it for also that of the what? That of the NHANES. So again, if you go backwards, if you go home, so home, this is you click on survey data and documentation, and now you can have access to different data. So if you want 1997 to 2018 data, once you click on it, it opens, and now you are able to have tons of information about data set which was collected during this period, and you'll be able to actually access all those informations and then be able to download your data here. So finally, also another site in which you can access a health data set is the HealthData.gov. So if you click it, now let's wait for it to open. So it's taking longer than expected. Okay, so now it has opened. So now once it has opened under this HealthData.gov, it's a data which has to do with United States health data, which you can see over here. So once you have this site also open, all what you have to do is, for instance, you have recent data. Once you click on recent data, you'll be able to access most recent data you have here. So it's still running. Okay, so you have, for instance, it is giving you 40 results. So you have almost about 40 different recent data which you can have access to. So for instance, we have children by deposition, there's a maltreated types of victims. So if you click this type of data, now you have information about the what? About the data. So these are some of the information, the publishers of the data, which is the US Department of Health and Human Services. And then, for instance, this data, it gives you the column. It have 54 rows, and then 54 rows means 54 observation, and then we have 21 columns, which is mean 21 variables. So in order to download this data, you have export here. So once you click on export, you can see we have the CSV file, and then which is the CSV for Excel. So if you click on CSV, that is okay. Once you've done that, your data download. So now you can see here the data which have been downloaded. If I go to my download, downloads, I'm able to access all those data which were downloaded. So there's the data. So now with this data, I'll be able to import this data in SPSS. So again, all what I have to do is to go to, in order to import Excel file, to go to import a file import, and then I'll go to what? I'll go to CSV data. For instance, the data I downloaded is CSV data. If it is an Excel data, you go to, so if it is CSV data, you click on CSV, and you have to locate where it is found. So under download, so this all CSV data which I have. So this is the data which I just downloaded, which is the maltreatment data. So I just have to double click on it, or I have to click on what? Open. So once I click on open, So remember, if you have CSV data or an Excel data, if you click on open, SPSS allows you to do certain editing. But if you don't want to do any editing, you can still go to continue. And then now this is the data which I just downloaded with 54 observation. So there is it. And then these are all sites in which you can have access to health data set. So I think you have gotten information, enough information to be able to get access to data for your project work, for your final project work for this particular course. So I wish you the best of luck. And then if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me regarding your analysis. If you are confused, I'll be more than happy to assist you. But then I have given you all the SPSS tools you needed. So it's up to you to take a data set and decide which of the tools you are going to use in analyzing your data set. So once you choose the tools, you should be able to interpret any output you get out there. And so again, if you go to the final project prompt or tab, you have all the information or the guidelines for this particular final project. So I wish you again the best of luck. Goodbye and stay safe.